Hello guys, welcome to Long Dog Leap Day. It is the 29th of February 2024 and 4 years ago, I do honestly believe it was the Martini Stitcher that started the Long Dog Leap Day Sal, and that's the hashtag that quite a few of us have used on Instagram for the last 4 years when we've worked on the piece. And the idea was originally that we would start a long dog on Leap Day and aim to finish it 4 years later on Leap Day. And as far as I was aware and I've worked it, there was no you must work on it on this day. It was you have 4 years. Here is your 4 years. Some people worked on it on the 29th. Now, if I'd only worked on it one day a month for 4 years, I would never have completed the challenge. And I had actually already started Pilgrim. It was my first ever long dog. 4 years ago, I was right at the beginning of my stitching journey. I had not started making floss tube videos. I didn't start making floss tube videos until the July, so it was already ongoing when I did my first video. But I was on Instagram and I was posting, and I'll put a screenshot here of the post I put up on the 29th of February, thereabouts, to say I'm in on this. Here is the start. I had less than 1,000 stitches done on the Pilgrim, and in this day, 4 years later, wow, 4 years have passed, it is finished. It's done. Now let me show you. Oh, I've got my fabric stuck under the tablet, under the thing holding this tablet up. Right, so I'm going to see how the colour's playing with us today. Finished. All backstitch, all stitches, deleted from Pattern Keeper. Obviously I still have a PDF, so I started this with a paper pattern 4 years ago. Pattern Keeper wasn't a thing. And I used the paper pattern quite comfortably until I realised I'd lost page 7. And then I realised that I had not done all the backstitch as I'd gone. And as I'd finished a page, I had scrambled it up and I had gone, done, and chucked it away. Which was short-sighted of me. So about half a year ago, I actually stumped and bought the pattern again. So I paid for it twice. Never mind. Honestly, for the enjoyment I've had out of this pattern, it was worth the 30 quid I've spent buying it twice. But that was my silly. Anyway, it's done. So it is on 20, I'm never sure if it's 28 count or 32 count. It could be either or, actually. There it is. It's huge. I've been instructed by my mum to take it to her. She's going to get it framed. And I've said, yes please and thank you. So this will get framed, I imagine, reasonably quickly. It's enormous, I know. I used 2 strands throughout of Mrs. Sadus Darling Silk, and because 4 years ago I was watching Jan Hicks, who posted every week her stitching. I mean, the 4-year journey for all of us has been astonishing. She's a designer now. She doesn't really she doesn't post floss tubes, but she's a up-and-coming designer, and you know, she was stitching Shades of Gold, which I adored, and I loved the colourway, and it suited me down to the ground, and I wanted to stitch with it, so I ordered a full hank of Mrs. Sadus silk. And for those of you who always are unsure about yardage and long dogage, this is a very large long dog. I believe 64,000 stitches. I can go straight in and check. Oh my god, I can't, I've deleted it off Pattern Keeper. I believe it's about 64,000 stitches because I finished it, so it's gone off my list. I completed it with thread to spare. Thread to spare. 2 strands did the job. Where is that little devilish thing? Of course, I finished this 3 days ago. Of course, yesterday I found the ball. It was somewhere I had not looked, which is good, because, you know, if I'd have overlooked it, I'd have been really cross. But I did use the Bee Stitch Me thread, and it's just here in the border. You can't tell. Ever so slightly greener tone in the green, and the back stitch, like here. But you'd never know. But I found the darling silk. It was in a bag in my conservatory, and yesterday I was off work and I went, right, okay, I need to sort the stuff that I have in this conservatory out that's mine. I got a big plastic box full of random items like birthday cards from when the kids were like 9, so it's been there conservatively 7 or 8 years. Yes, great. It was one of my daughter's cards, so yeah, she's nearly 16. That was a 9th birthday card. So it was that kind of age box of random items that I've just plonked in and left and pushed to one side and put other stuff on top of, and a bag with just stuff equally. But when I got to the bottom of the bag, there was stuff from when I started my new job. I'd obviously at some point emptied out my work bag to get all the bits of crap out of the bottom of my work bag, shoved them in a different bag. That bag got shelved, got other stuff crap chucked in it and shoved in the conservatory. So I got to the bottom of the bag, I found my crochet, and there was the offending article. So hang on 2 seconds. Here it is. So I knew I had this. I knew exactly how big it was, and I knew I had it, and I do. So full hank, which is I believe about the same size as a Silks for You hank. Big long dog, room to spare, and that was over 2 strands used throughout, apart from the back stitch. And I have this much left, so room to spare. And I needed a metre more. I needed just a metre of this ball, and I couldn't find this ball, but now I have it. So I have a little bit of Wondrous Delight left over. It's got some Biro on it actually. It's actually got a bit of purple in it there, which is Biro. I know full well it's got none of that colour in it. I've used all the rest. So room to spare. Full long dog. Good. So 4 years of work boils down to a very large finish, which was going to always be finished this day. And unbelievable that it's complete. My first start of a long dog, and it's done on the leap day it was meant to be done on. Mission complete. 2024 EB. That's me. That's bad light. It's good light. It's bad light. I needed to catch up with me. Anyway, come on light. There we go. So that's done. Brilliant. It's got a few little bits on it that I need to spot clean. Obviously the silk does not wash. We learned that from Jan when she got hers wet and it all bled. So I can't wash it. The fabric won't bleed because I dyed that myself and I rinsed it until the colour ran, till it ran clear, which is how I was taught to dye yarn. So that's how I dye fabric. So the fabric wouldn't bleed, but the silk, not touching, not getting that wet. I will spot clean where there's something that looks like a small blob of tomato soup or something on it. I just don't know. It has been with me comprehensively this whole time. Anyone who's watched all of my floss tubes, some of my floss tubes, will have seen this at some point. It's always a companion. I did put it away for months on end. Had I worked on it steadily, it would never have taken me 4 years. If you've clicked on this because it's a Long Dog Leap Day video, I have a lot of whips. I've got about, I think just I'm hovering around the 40 something mark whip, and some of them are enormous, some of them are little, but some of them are enormous. So I'm not a monogamous stitcher. If I was, it would be my treasure hunt bookshelf, and that would also be a lot further on. I'm saving that for my floss tube that I'll do at the end of the week, but oh my goodness, I've had a nightmare with it. I got to 4 days before the end of the month with over 4,000 stitches to go. Don't let me do that again. Don't let me do that again, please, because it's been a challenge to put in that many stitches. Anyway, save that for my floss tube. So it is Long Dog Leap Day. What next? Well, I've already said on my floss tube what I'm going to do, but I'm going to show it you now because this is an extra. I have finished 4 years of project. I'm thrilled it's done. I can't believe that I stuck to it and I did it in 4 years with all the other projects I've got going on. Lots of other long dogs, well over 10 long dogs on the go in various states of, I love it. Oh, I shouldn't have started it. I'm going to UFO that one. Birdies is UFO'd. I love the pattern. I've got it on PDF. At some point in time I might stitch birdies, but the tiny little start, the 0.2% or whatever it was right in the middle I'd done was no good. Yeah, that's coming out to reuse. Beautiful piece of fabric. So I've decided to not start a new long dog. I had planned to do Ragnarok. I've got fabric for it. Amazing. But the fabric I picked meant I would have to have stitched it in the negative, which I believe makes Pattern Keeper problematic. And I don't want to add another 4-year project into my rotation right now. Not that I have a rotation at all. I stitch on whatever takes my fancy. So I decided that instead of going for a brand new long dog, a 4-year project, which would have had to have been Saga or a Temple of Prophecy or Life After Death, or one of the really big ones I'd have had to have done. There's so many wonderful patterns to choose, so many, but I've already got so many on the go. So I decided that I'm going to give myself, from today, 4 years to finish 4 long dogs. And that's not going to be 1 year each, because I've got a very big one, 2 medium-sized, what I consider to be medium-sized ones, and a little one. The really big one is equivalent to that. That's a really big one. This is a really big one. 2 medium-sized ones, much smaller, much more easy to... Actually, I reckon they're quite close. I'm just going to check the sizage on the 2 that I'm looking at here. So we've got 37,000 stitches in that one, and up a bit more. Where? There. 37. They're almost, I thought they were almost exactly the same. So I've got a biggie. My biggie is, I'm going to show you them in a second anyway. So the biggie is a 67, so it's equivalent size to Pilgrim. Luckily, I'm nearly half finished. And then my Tiddly Widdly one, which I'm just going to show you right now first, Happily Ever After, is only 15,000, but I have only done 2% of it. So this is the starting point of a 4-year rotation for these. Happily Ever After has only got, this is at 2.37%, and that is all it's got on it right now. Fabric is that colour. I dyed this myself. It was a lilac hand dye with a navy blue mottle, a spot on it. So I then over dyed it with blue and then grey, which gave me this almost camo fabric. And I'm going to put Happily Ever After on this because I am living Happily Ever After. By the time 4 years has elapsed, I fully intend to be very much Happily Ever After. All will be said and done, and we will be jogging along very nicely with our lives. So that's all that's done, and that's 1 day's work in Flossmas. I've picked a very straightforward colour palette for it. These are Cowpile, which I started in Flossmas, so ignore those. And here I have three colours of silk. I've got Quicksilver, Dinky Dye, I've got Charcoal and Black Sand Beach. Oh yes, they are two different greys. And then I've just got two skeins of Spectre, Pearl White and Chimney Sweep Colour and Cotton. So I've got greys, and I think I will possibly put in, I think there's a lot of tiny little hearts all over it somewhere. I'll find them. They're either hearts or butterflies, and I'll make a decision, but I'm thinking a really magenta red. I'll find something perfect. Just one pick out colour, otherwise it's going to be greys and whites, which will sit very nicely. I think they'll sit very well on my fabric, and I'll just decide. It's going to be predominantly grey on this fabric, but now and again there'll be a little detail that I'll do in the white, or there'll be a little detail that I'll do in something. So happily ever after. On this day, 2.37%. It's a 15,000 stitch. Got my colours. Fancy stitching, fancy finishing Cowpile now. Fancy finishing off my Cowpile. I might pull that and work on it next week. We'll leave that for Flosstube. Right, happily ever after. And then I've got two mediums. And my two medium projects are, let me just find him on Pattern Keeper, Gone to Pieces, which is one of my newer starts. It's right on top, literally gone to pieces. And I started this when my life was going to pieces and I was feeling a bit chaotic, but everything's okay, you know, we're going to be okay. And I am at, the wrong way up, 20.55% today. And here's where I am. So it's at 20%, 20 and a half. So I've still got 30,000 stitches to do. And it's glorious, and I love it. And I want to stitch on it. I've picked the 4 that I want to stitch on, simply because I'm more likely to want them around if I want to stitch on them. If I get that, oh, I want to get on with that one. So that's fine. Colourways for this are all silks. I treated myself. I'm stitching it on a piece of, what are you? You don't belong. Oh, that's a piece of that, that's fine. A piece of 36 count Lakeside Needlecraft printed fabric. So it's one of their own, but it's like, I think it's basically a fabric flare. It's plain on one side, it's printed on the other. It is called Granite. It is one of my absolute favourites. It is greeny grey. It's showing very nicely there. It's greeny grey motley. Anything looks good on it. I'm stitching with one strand of silk, make my silks go further. On a 36 count, gives the most glorious coverage. I know I'm upside down there, get the colour right, get the light right. The coverage is absolutely a spot on perfect. 36 count, one strand of silk. And that's over 2, so it's like 18 count in reality. Here are my colours. There is 2, you can see the Dinky Dyes, there's 3 Dinky Dyes there. So Down Under Blues, a very old favourite. I have other skeins of this, don't worry. Knocking around, I'll find it. And that's all the navy blue. And then each of the puzzle pieces, I changed up the colours from the charted colours because I'm using my palette. And here they are. So those 2 here are Dinky Dyes. And they're basically all flowery names. There's a wisteria in there, there's a something else, there's a, I think one of them's begonia or something. They're all flowery names apart from this turquoisey one. The others, these are Karen water lilies, which I love. You can always tell they're Karen water lilies because they're 12 ply, instead of 6-ply, and they're like heaven. This is like heaven to stitch with. So there's my colours on my fabric, and I am at 20.55% on Leap Day. And then the other one, exactly the same size, is the new normal. And I restarted the new normal because I was not happy with how I was stitching it before. I got further on than I am now, I think. But my new normal today is 18.33% complete. That's showing a little dark. And I am doing this in shades of turquoise and pink. And I did get one day last year. That's all it got last year, was one day, and I worked on it in Flossmas, and I worked on this horse here. And I need to fix the horse because I don't think the horse stands out. Not like these cats stand out. These really stand out. And I love the rocket, and I love this little Welsh dragon, this little devil dragon here. Oh, he's wonderful. So I still have to take this woodpecker out because his colour is incorrect for the fabric. I ordered, because I don't have an LNS, I ordered online some colours I thought would match nicely, and that one there, that he didn't. So he's got to come out and be restitched in something else. But quite a lot of this I am stitching in a thread that matches the fabric, so it'll have that weird textural lacy appearance that I really love, the stitching on stitching that my pandemic is. But here we go. Let's see. I'm giving myself 4 years. Again, I'm not going to work on this solidly for a year. I'm going to pick them up and put them down. As long as I've always got one of the 4 with me and I'm working on one of the 4, I'm good. Should be good. And then I'll regroup probably in 3 years, see where I am with them, and then put in the work required to finish each one. But I'm hoping that simply working on them consistently, always having one in my bag ready to go, whichever one I fancy stitching on, will lead me to, you know, finishing. And then my big one. Now, I made a very conscious choice not to do Pandemic. Pandemic is at 11%, I think, and it's massive, and the commitment required to finish it in 4 years was more than I had going on in me right now. So I said no to it. It's still there. I will work on it when I fancy working on it. It'll get a month. It's in my big projects box, so it'll get a month at some point, and that's fine. It's not going to be 4 years for Pandemic, I'm afraid, unless I get obsessed, but I can't see it happening. What I picked instead as my biggie was my pointed fifth, of course, which is my ombre piece. And this is at 48.26% today. It's there. It's going to fit quite snugly on this piece of 32 count baby pink opalescent Lugana. It was white. I dyed it pink. It was quite pink, and then I rinsed it until the water ran clear, and this is how much dye it took up. And to be honest, it's perfect for this piece. So it is absolutely 100% complete to there. I just have to fill in this little box here, and then it will be complete to there. So I suddenly got a whim last year to finish to the corner here and then work down, because I was kind of heading diagonally and down. It was kind of like that, and then I was trying to find the bottom, but then I decided I'd rather have the top bit done, so I did the top bit, and that's where I am. And I'm working in an ombre of pure DMC. This is 100% DMC. I couldn't find the thread keep with, or my thread drop with all the colour on it right now. As I was pulling these, it's here, it's in this house, I just need to locate it. Obviously this isn't going to be my first go up. So 823 Etoile is all the navy blue. which is anything inside a little, anything inside a thingy, any of the little seams inside are 8, 2, 3 or 12. Anything on the outside is 2 strands of whichever DMC. If you want my list of colours, go down my list of videos, and there is a video I did last year at some point which is just about this, and I very clearly mark the colours I used for it, so they're very easy to find. By all means use my colours, by all means don't use my colours, use the idea, just stitch. So that's it. 4 years time, I am aiming to have 4 finishes. And if I finish them before then, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant if I finish them before then. If I'm doing what I did with him and going, I've got a month to put in the last stitches, that's fine too. We'll get there. But I know there are a lot of people starting Long Dogs today. I'm in the Long Dog Facebook group, the official Long Dog Facebook group, and they've latched onto it and run with it, which is amazing. There's going to be so many lovely updates of brand new Long Dogs being stitched. I'm of course going my own way, which I generally do, but brilliant. Absolutely, knock yourselves out, get a Long Dog pattern, get going. 4 years, let's do it. I believe we're still going to keep using the hashtag we've used the whole way through, which is hashtag Long Dog Leap Day Sal, which is, you know, ongoing. It's been a 4 year trek, and I'm curious to see how many other people who started 4 years ago have finished 4 years later. I'm really curious to see. I assume as I watch my normal videos and see people who I usually watch, who I know were doing their Long Dogs in that time, we'll see how they've got on. Also, I check my Instagram all the time, so there'll be, anytime anyone uses the hashtag, it'll flash up, so that's good too. And that's it. This is just a pure Long Dog Leap Day update, and I did it, and I'm thrilled. And let's all stitch a Long Dog, because they're amazing, absolutely amazing patterns. Don't be daunted if you're just contemplating jumping on and picking a long dog. Don't be daunted. One stitch at a time. And 4 years of my life stitching on that, I'm gonna miss it, you know. Which is why I think I'm picking up whips rather than New Start. I could very easily start a new one. Absolutely 100% could start a new one. But I've decided not to. I've decided to work on 4 of my whips because I love them and I love working on them. So I'm going to. And these are going to be my 4 years, 4 whips. I'm excited to get on with them. And we're at the end of the month, so I'm going to churn my projects around today, tomorrow-ish, probably tomorrow, and give you an update. Normal floss tube, probably Monday? Probably Monday. I got myself a bit behind, didn't I? With the way my shifts were falling, so I think probably Monday I'll hop on with an update. Oh, we'll see how my shifts fall. It's just getting the time to film really at the minute. So yeah, right guys, I'm gonna go and carry on stitching. I'm gonna make me in. I've got Lizzie off today, a bit sick, which is why I'm here. Keeping an eye on the time. I've got to go and get my little boy from school, so I've got to keep an eye on the time. Yeah, I've got Lizzie off. She's got a horrible viral coffee thing, and she's got really bad asthma, so I'm keeping her really close right now, just in case. But she's alright. She's currently doing a mock A-level maths paper that we printed out this morning, all 42 pages of it. So she's doing that. I'm going to go and stitch on City of Love because I need to put in a little bit more work on that before I put it away for the month. And look forward to seeing what I pull out to stitch on next month for my big let's give it a month piece, as opposed to my let's give it a week piece, and my let's carry on with my long dog piece, and my treasure hunt bookshelf. Please, please, please don't let me leave it until the last minute again. I've done it about 3 times now. Left it until almost the turn of the month. Thank goodness it's leap day, is all I'm saying. And I was off. Right guys, I've basically given you a full bloom video anyway. It's longer than my last floss tube. I will see you very shortly for another update, and happy long dog stitching. Bye bye guys.